So I just finished watching TNA Bound for Glory and it was a damn amazing pay-per-view. It started a bit slow, kind of took me a little while to get into it, but by the end it was by far the best TNA pay-per-view we have had all year, no doubt. So let's get into it. It opens with the International Championship being on the line between the defending champion, Frankie Kazarian, going up against Steve Macklin, the former champion. I was surprised they added this match to the pay-per-view. It was a kind of a late addition, and also the build really wasn't there. They really haven't interacted since Steve Macklin lost the championship. But I feel like it was a fun little match, and it opened with Steve Macklin winning back the TNA International Championship, celebrating with his mom. A nice little opening match, I quite enjoyed it. Knowing what happens later in the show, which we will get to, it makes sense that Frankie Kazarian lost the championship right now. I just feel like there was still a lot we could have done with his reign, because it felt like he had a lot of potential with the championship. But after all, it is Steve Macklin's championship, so I can't complain. Him winning, happy with the result. I'm excited to see where he goes now, especially since he has that potential feud with El Messias. The next match was Tessa Blanchard's first match back against Gia Miller, who looks really cool. I said over the past few weeks, I constantly said that I'm excited to see what Gia Miller can do, if she can actually go, and in the looks department, she's got it. Unfortunately, this match was pretty much just Tessa Blanchard beating her around. I mean, the best spot of the night was Joji Thread jumping from the top rope onto everyone on the outside. It wasn't even anything to do with Tessa Blanchard or Gia Miller in the match itself. Plus, again, Gia Miller didn't really show much, and what she did show was kind of clunky. She's very much a raw prospect, if you even want to call her that. Near the end of the match, it did seem like she was building up some momentum. She was about to powerbomb Tessa Blanchard, but she just fell down. She couldn't keep him up. Tessa Blanchard picks up the victory. Going into this match, I was expecting a lot. I wanted to see what Gia Miller can do, because this story felt like a perfect storyline to introduce Gia Miller as a new major knockout. But I don't think that's gonna happen now. And as for Tessa Blanchard, her picking up the victory, hopefully we do something with this, but it's kind of sad how much momentum she's lost. Well, not necessarily momentum, I feel like how much attention she lost. At the start of the year when she arrived, everybody was kind of interested to see what's gonna happen here, and now she's just kind of there. I don't feel anything towards her. So hopefully this victory does do something for her. But overall, it was the weakest match of the night. But then again, it's probably just because I had too much expectations for it. Next was the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. I'm not going to go through the whole gauntlet because that's going to be a whole 10-minute video on its own, but I want to talk about a bunch of fun stuff that happened. The show opened with Lei Ying Li, or the match opened with Lei Ying Li and Rasha Day as the first opponents. They had a little bit of a back and forth, just a show of strength before both Ryan and Nick Nemeth entered subsequently, and then we had a little brawl. Later on, AJ Francis entered. He eliminated both women. Us Marsha Day fans, we are suffering. It's been a horrible week for us to stand Marsha Day. She's the first elimination of this match. She was the first elimination in the TNA Survivor Series match on NXT. Damn, it sucks. But the funniest part about this was a Rich Swann jumping onto AJ Francis, them celebrating together, and AJ Francis just grabbing him by the neck and throwing him out of the ring, getting another elimination. That was really fun. The next high spot was BDE making his TNA debut, or not necessarily debut, making his one-off appearance. It was fun. He had a nice move on RKO. Yeah, he had an RKO on AJ Francis, which was fun. But later on, he does get eliminated by Eric Young, who, honestly, if BDE is interested in staying in TNA for a bit longer, having a feud, Eric Young would be the perfect opponent. He's having his whole cleansing gimmick where he cleansed Joe Henry from TNA because he's kind of an NXT wrestler now. It would make sense that he might try to cleanse BDE from TNA. I doubt that's actually going to happen, but if you want to build a feud like that, I think I'd be down for that. Later on, you have the Rascals all entering as one unit, which was fun. I would like that if tag team wrestlers just enter as one in these battle royals. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I just think it was fun. You also had Rosemary making her one appearance per every 3 months, as is usual with her. I honestly would like to see her stick around for the Knockouts division a lot more. I think she could benefit it, but she was here. It was nice. Probably not going to see her again for a while, but I enjoyed the moment. The Hometown Man was also here, and he is super over. Like, I'm surprised how good Cody Deaner managed to become. Not necessarily good, I think he was always pretty solid in the ring, but he finally found his gimmick and it's super over, and I really like it. The crowd really loved him. Even at the end, which we're going to talk about later, the crowd were chanting for the Hometown Man to win. So it feels like this would have been the perfect digital media champion, Hometown Man. Unfortunately, that championship is gone now. But yeah, he's super over. I just wanted to mention that. We also then had Jody Thread, who was supposed to enter in this battle royal, but Frankie Kazarian beat her up, and then he was like trying to take her place. Santana was at ringside trying to figure out what to do, and Frankie Kazarian was just constantly saying, yeah, he needs to take his place. The next opponent was supposed to enter, and it was Santino, who took out his Cobra and hit Frankie Kazarian. That was a super funny spot. I really liked that. Before Santino tried to get into the ring, only to be instantly eliminated, a callback to his Royal Rumble appearance in the past. Surprisingly, there were no NXT wrestlers in this match, which was honestly surprising because I was expecting an NXT surprise, but I'm also glad there wasn't. It really showcased the TNA roster in and of itself. But at the end, we have a double winner in Nick Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian, who have a double pinfall. And honestly, people in the arena were upset, saying this is bullshit. I quite like it. I think there's a lot of interesting potential here, and it also makes sense. I think we're gonna get a lot of fun stories with Nick Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian fighting over when they want to cash it in. So I'm honestly just fine for how different and how fun it's gonna be. Plus, both Nick Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian were obviously gonna be challengers for Mike Santana's championship. So you're just giving yourself an easy in and a naturally fun storyline. The next match was for the Knockouts Championship, which was Kalani Jordan versus Indy Hartwell, with Kalani Jordan retaining, and thank God this happened. Nothing against Indy Hartwell. She had her whole family there, so that kind of sucks that she didn't win. But it's still too early for her. I really like her. I just feel like we need to build up her character more. Really lean into her character work, what made her special. Plus, Kalani Jordan is just a better package. I know she gets complaints because she's very cookie cutter, but sometimes we just need that pure babyface, and that's what I really like about Kalani Jordan. Plus, I'm the biggest Kalani Jordan fan, so I'll defend her to death. But I'm happy she won. Like I said, I feel like there's a lot of storyline potential we still need to engage with Kalani Jordan, and I'm excited to see how that goes. The System versus the Order 4 is also a really insane match. It's hardcore war, and I just want to say, I loved all the brutal spots we got here. Traditionally, I'm not into stuff like thumbtacks. I'm not into stuff like, barbed wire bats or using a cheese grater or a staple gun. But since we don't really see it a lot, it was a nice surprise. And what was seriously brutal is Agent Zero putting Alicia Edwards, throwing her into thumbtacks. Damn, that was a brutal spot. Also Moose. Moose looks really cool with that chain around his chest. That looks super sick. You're probably going to see an image of this. He just looks so cool with that. Mustafa Ali also later on, while Alicia Edwards was laying on her back still on the thumbtacks, threw even more thumbtacks all over her chest, trying to get to the top rope, do a splash onto her, but she moved out of the way, and then Eddie Edwards put some barbed wire around his knee, hit the Boston Knee Party, picked up the victory for the System. A really, really great match. I loved it. The diversity in this match, or just the show in general, was really fun. I think it really helped the show stand out. And this match in particular, a lot of brutal spots, a lot of fun moments. Moose and Agent Zero series really stood out. I need a match between them. Just a very fun match overall. And I think the right people won. Eddie Edwards having that hero's victory. Really nice stuff. We followed this up by, which was ultimately match of the night, Javon Evans and Leon Slater for the X Division Championship. This match was the definition of what the X Division needs to be. High flying, just a clash of different styles, no limits, just two men going all out. Really, I'm really suggesting if you want to check out just one match of this event, go check out this match. It was insane. The crowd was so into it. I think that elevated the match a lot too. But unfortunately, the match ended in the 20-minute time limit. The fans were upset, so Santino came out, got a massive pop, gave them 5 more minutes. I was very excited for this until Dark State came out and beat both people up, letting this match end in no disqualification. Now, I get it. It's kind of what Dark State does. They beat the shit out of people when they're not supposed to, just ruining the show. But come on, it just feels like NXT and TNA couldn't decide who they want to have win, so they just chose the easy way out. Plus, I would have liked this if this was something Dark State did more. This is what they should do. Ruin shows, jump in the big major matches and just ruin it. Not do this one time and then just abandon the game, because when was the last time they attacked someone? And I promise you in the next couple of weeks, they're not going to interfere in any major matches. So it just kind of sucks. It's a bad ending to an amazing match. And while I like what they did with Dark State, I just feel like it's inconsequential because they're not going to follow up on it. Chris Bay then came out and announced the attendance, which was 7,749, which is seriously good for TNA. You almost got to 8K. Great, I'm happy for them. And I also like that Chris Bay was here. I mean, I don't know if he's ever going to return, if he will return, but I'm glad TNA is still keeping up with him. I know he didn't get a major pop. People probably don't care that much about him. They probably forgot about him. But, I personally like seeing him. We then followed this up with the Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys in what was a very slow match, but very entertaining. I know a lot of people are going to hate it because it was slow, was pretty much just a spot fest, but I really enjoyed it. I'm a sucker for nostalgia. I'm a sucker for just big surprise fun moments. So I didn't really care if the match wasn't good in and of itself. I just enjoyed seeing the Dudleys versus the Hardys, and honestly was possibly my favorite match of the night. Not the best match of the night, but my personal favorite. Jeff Hardy might have gotten a concussion because he jumped off the ladder onto Devon, but almost accidentally. It looked like he hit his head at the back of the ladder, but for the rest of the match he seemed fine. He didn't seem concussed or anything, but you know, just pointing that out there. And then the match ended with Bubba Ray pretty much just giving up, realizing that he's not going to be able to outfight Matt and Jeff at the end, so he just accepted being put through a table. I really liked that ending. It was different than just putting him through a table. I feel like there was a lot more emotion there. I really like that. I like that they did something different while still keeping it very much something we all know. And then the Dudley Boys also took off their shoes and gave it to the Hardy Boys, a very nice gesture. And then also during the show, near the end, my siblings came to watch with me. This is my sister. She's still very young. Neither of them are in high school yet. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tara.
And what part of the match did you enjoy, Tara?
I liked the part where the other two boys who win,
The Hardy Boys.
the Hardy Boys, they helped out the other boys.
You like that part?
Yeah, I like that part.
So she doesn't really watch wrestling at all. This was her first time watching in like a few weeks. She's very much a casual, and her favorite wrestler is?
And Io Sky.
And then in the main event, it was Mike Santana versus Drake Williams, and Mike Santana is your new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. I feel like it's a result everybody was expecting, but it was really sweet. It was really heartfelt. In fact, it was a really great match. Before the match even started, they started brawling all around the arena before they actually got into the ring. Mike Santana got busted open, was bleeding all over his face. It was a really intense match, but also really fun. Mike Santana picks up the victory. It was also a sweet ending where he put the belt on his daughter. I really love that. And I'm also very excited to see where his reign goes. I feel like he has a lot of competitors lined up. Again, Frankie Kazarian and Nick Nemeth. I feel like you're probably going to have a guy like Moose after him. You're probably going to have Eric Young down the line after him too. You still have his arch rival on TNA, Mustafa Ali, who's probably going to also face down the line. So he's in for a really great reign. I'm just excited to see what happens. Hell, he's probably going to face someone from TNA too eventually, because that's just how life works. So if I had to give tonight's show a rating, it was a 10 out of 10. I enjoyed it all throughout. Again, started a bit slow, but it really caught on as every match went along. A damn amazing show. 10 out of 10. Best TNA pay-per-view of the year, bar none. So if you like my review, please leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. We're on the route to 700 subscribers, so please, let's try and get there. It would really mean a lot to me. I also cover TNA and NXT every week, along with Evolve, and then I also have a superhero channel and a basketball channel, so if that type of stuff interests you, leave a like and go subscribe there too. So I hope to see you guys again soon. Goodbye, everyone.